everyone. Welcome to another Yogi Tea Reading. If I'm counting correctly, I believe this is Yogi Tea Reading number 6. If you're watching, I hope you like this lighting. I might be being a little too particular, but if you can't see or are just listening and you want a description, I am sitting here on the floor in a bedroom in my house. You can see part of my body. I'm wearing an Ireland rugby shirt with the number 3 on it, and in the upper right-hand corner of my screen, you can see a window through which there are trees and bright afternoon light shining through. If you hear little noises, it's probably my little bunny Teeny, my white lion head, who just got a fancy new haircut, so maybe she'll want to show off for you guys. Hi, sweetie. I'm not sure if anything just glitched out because I'm on low battery mode. I'm just gonna keep going and hope that it works. So let's get started. I have my heart-shaped box full of Yogi Tea tags, as I like to call them. And we will select one quote for this video to be the focus of our message. Let's see. All right. Ooh, it says every neighbor can be your teacher. My heart just sank a little bit. I actually felt maybe my stomach dropped a little too when I read that. And do you know why? It's because I've been feeling quite burnt out and wanting to isolate myself. Isolation is what I often do when I'm burnt out because social interactions can be quite taxing for me. Stick around if you're in the same page or on the same boat. Every neighbor can be your teacher. I'm thinking I'll talk a little bit more about this isolation and then we can go back to the topic at hand if it still feels right. But that need for isolation, I think, is the body's way of saying, I need to recuperate. Whether or not you identify as an extrovert, an introvert, someone who's neurodivergent, etc. Sometimes isolation can be quite healing because we are allowed to just take space for ourselves. It's a form of self-care. It's a form of reconnecting. Oftentimes we are so focused on the external world. For instance, our jobs, the things we have to do, meeting other people's demands, their needs, because it's just our responsibility to do so. Oh, here's Teeny. Hi, sweetie. Are you going to show off your new hair? Okay, now she's on screen and I'm petting her, so she might stick around, but giving a pet some attention is quite self-soothing. Maybe you're struggling to find time to soothe and focus on yourself. Maybe you're feeling a bit lost and separate from yourself. Like you've been sending out a version of yourself into the world, and the other version of you wants that part to be reattached. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the Peter Pan with Robin Williams, rest in peace. But there's a beginning scene, spoiler, where Peter Pan comes to Wendy's window and he's looking for help to have his shadow reattached to him because it's unruly and it's causing him trouble. And so he needs someone to sew the shadow back onto him. And I feel connected to this image. I'm laughing because it feels so silly, but it does feel quite true. It's like, I'm going to say we, because if you're listening, I'm thinking you resonate with how I'm feeling. We will have this version of ourselves that exists in the world that is not really our true self. People talk about the shadow self, and I think they're often referring to these subconscious beliefs we have, or these quote unquote negative traits that we might have, whether or not they're from trauma, they're just inherited, they're things we're just meant to have in this life, and either to heal from, or to just accept and live with. I'm not a shadow work expert, but I'm just explaining this because with this image of the shadow reattaching, it does make me think of this idea of the shadow self. Except that in this case, the shadow feels like the version of you that you send out into the world because it is putting on a performance for you on your behalf. It is a persona. You could say it's like wearing a mask. I think we all mask in one way or another, although that term masking seems to me to be very much aligned with the neurodivergent community. It's almost like you're trying to rein this back in, to reattach this part of yourself, or pull back the mask to you're desiring to be complete and whole instead of having to separate yourself into parts in order to meet the demands of the world. It's like your body or your soul's way of saying no more. It's time to come back home to you. As I'm filming this, it's a Friday, which means for those of you who work on regular Monday through Friday 9 to 5 schedule, this means you might finally have a chance to focus on yourself a little bit with the coming weekend and days off from work. But it feels more like a long time coming, this process of reattaching or calling yourself back. That shadow version of you, like in the Peter Pan image or scene, has caused you a lot of trouble too. It has caused you to overextend yourself and be something untrue. It is like a performance you're tired of playing in many ways. Or maybe you could say it's just time, that this is the part of your life where you are fated to return. Like you've had these experiences and now you've learned, and you no longer want to live as this shadow version of yourself. For a while, maybe you sent it into the world because it worked for you, it did the dirty work for you, it made things happen. But now it's almost out of control. It's been running around pretending to be you when really it's not. And you are done with listening to it and treating it as if it's your, I was going to say your boss, the one in command, the one who controls your life. Maybe for a while you thought it was you until you understood, through perhaps isolation and self-reflection, that it was not you. And maybe you've been avoiding self-reflection or sitting with yourself because you're afraid of what you'll learn through this self-reflection, that it will require you to make changes, that you will learn things that cannot be unlearned. And the shadow self wants to keep things in control because it's had things under control. But you're in the reattachment process and you're ready to relearn life whole, as the whole version of you. And I'm looking at this tea tag again and reading the quote, "Every neighbor can be your teacher." I don't feel like this message is about that idea in specific. I think maybe you thought you were antisocial or didn't like being around people, but it turns out you're just burnt out or in the wrong environments. And when you are social on your own terms with the right people, you do find enjoyment. I'm seeing you with other people surrounded by gold light. And in this way, I'm thinking that this is what you will experience eventually, but not right now. You don't need to force yourself to be social. However, if it does feel invigorating or reinvigorating to be around people, I urge you to do that. This actually now makes me think about a new neighbor that we have. We haven't really interacted with them yet, but when I go out into our backyard, I do glance over to their yard and look and see if maybe there's anyone out there. I've been admiring or at least looking at any changes they've made. And I will admit that I often avoid interactions with the neighbors. And this will also make me avoid spending time outdoors too, which is not good because I find it very healing to just sit outside and listen to the birds and the trees and smell the grass. But if I'm avoiding potentially meeting the neighbors, then it means I don't get to practice that healing. Maybe you can give yourself permission to be social on your own terms. I get this feeling that you have certain rules you feel like you need to follow when it comes to being with people. Maybe you can write some new rules. Just because there's someone there and they want to talk, that doesn't mean you have to. You're not being taken hostage by other people's need for socialization. You get to decide. It's not a one-way relationship. You can just smile and wave or nod, whatever feels like you are capable of doing. And maybe as I talk about this idea of socializing, you're just thinking, oh God, oh God, I don't want to do that. You can laugh and say, I'm not going to go out of my way to talk to people, but if it happens, it happens. And I'll try my best to be open to what I can learn from other people. And maybe it is that you're feeling a little lost and you're seeking guidance. Maybe it is time to ask someone a question. Who is it that you want to ask your questions to? I think I might have to end it there because my foot is so asleep. It's like actually numb and it hurts a lot. Um, I think that is the message. I have no idea what the title of this one is going to be. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Okay. Talk to you again very soon.